See one time. Okay. Well, the time at Rosh Hashannah, it says that the time is very precious. That was the words that Rebbe always used. That every moment is precious. So already on the home stretch of the week of Rosh Hashannah, wow, ah, it's on mute. It's good. Okay, right. So it's the home stretch at Rosh Hashannah. So every minute is precious. A question: if a person is allowed to have intimacy on the first 2 days of Rosh Hashannah, so I mean, B'chlal, it wouldn't be such a question because even though it's brought from that is a list of days during the year, 3 days before Shavuos, the Pesach, it was a machloikis. Some say tafkir to be with his wife. Shvisha Pesach said also all these days. Like a lot of, I think the attitude today is that it's a kula also the chumra also the kula that it's a. But this one, the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah tafkir brought in Shulchan Aruch. The Magen Avraham brings it, so therefore it's a little more serious to look and examine this. Why should it be also on Rosh Hashanah to be with a person's wife? So it seems in Toiskim two reasons. One is Eimas Yom Adin. The Bavadai Yisoscha brings up Shai. He says the Yavitz argues. I mean, you would expect the Yavitz to argue on such a thing.
He's not. We have to go to the sister that night.
We'll talk about it in a second. And the Yavitz is the type of guy you totally expect to argue in such a thing. It's Nishkin Gemara, Haksta Chainik, it's Chivbiu, it's a Isur, Yimemavat Loina, So the Bnai Yisuskla says there's a Beferish story in the Tanakh when what happened was that David HaMelech in the story of with the woman Bathsheba, he wanted Uriah Achiti to go home and sleep with his wife for a reason. So when he told Uriah Achiti, when Uriah was called back from the battlefield, and he said, "Why are you not going home? Your wife is waiting for you." Like, you know what I mean? Kilu, go home. Your wife is waiting for you. So he answered. He said, "Ha'odon v'Yisrael v'Yehuda yoshvim b'sukkos v'Adoni Yoyev v'Avdi David apnei asad achonim v'Ani avi al beisi lechel v'lishtos v'lishke v'nishti." Now the Gemara says because he said Adoni Yoyev, it was Kayev Misa. You don't call someone else Odin in front of a melech. Come on, you caught him on a technicality over here. I mean that. But so you see here from the pasuk that when the Yidden are be'emes Yom Adin, that David HaMelech didn't say what's Haksta Chainik, what's Haksta Chainik, go home. He didn't say that. He came to Plan B. Plan B was a little more drastic than Plan A. But why did he need to Plan B? He could have told him go home. It's mutter. No, Weis is famous Yom Adin. It's taka also okay. There's a little bit of a stretch, huh? Because Eden are on a field, on a battlefield. This is a little bit of a stretch. This little araya from the Bnai Yisosla, but that's what he says. So one reason is Amos Yom Adin. The other reason is a technical reason. The guf of a yid has to be noki chayv adam latar atzmei beregel, and also Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. We don't want that there should be a mission that a person will now be obligated to go to the mikvah. The truth is, this reason is a little shver because that the person has to be matar himself more than his body than Rosh Hashanah. But the point we see that the Shulchan Aruch brings the halacha that a yid should be toivel in the mikvah before Rosh Hashanah. It's brought la halacha in Sematavko Peyalu. Right. So V'meila, this is taken over. So these are the two reasons. What will be the nafkamina and the reason? There'll be several nafkaminas in the reason. If you say it's Amos Yom Adin, maybe the first day is more of an Ema. There's in Genesis Run Kabbalah, the first day there's Dina Kashi. That's how we go for Talucha. Thursday maybe be more than the second day. We see that from the place we talk about it. Some say it's on both days. Some say it's on the first day. The other thing is, if it's Amos Yom Adin, it's an absolute. There's no exceptions. If it's the other reason that a person has his body should be noki, okay, it doesn't sound like
cockles.
No, I don't see that any place contribute. No. The question is only Tashma Shemitah. No one go that far.
And more know it that way.
So we'll talk about it in a second. And we'll see what the Shulchan says in Simatav Kuf Peyalef Achapsen or Mesaprim Be'erev Rosh Hashannah, and then Amoed V'yesh Noigim Litful Be'erev Rosh Hashannah Mishum Keri. The Magen Avram says, L'chein Al Yishamish Beleil Rosh Hashannah Achim Hu Leil Tvila V'chayiv L'kaim Le'nosoi V'yachze V'yitzel B'shachis. The Shalot says if it's Leil Tvila, he's chayiv. He can't say, babe. It's Leil Tvila, he's chayiv. It's chayiv boina. It's a very I think that, by the way, the Bhagavad you should know every word, just like similar to the Alter Rebbe. You have to read every word. Ois v'koitz, not the pshat. It's mamish. Every word by Bhagavad is that way. And he's trying to say that he found the machloikus. According to Shalah, it's only Beleil, Loshen Echa, but that's only first night. But in the Knesset Hagdoila, who's from Gedolah Poiskei Sfarad, said the Mishneh legs. Elam Kenes a Tfilas Mitzvah. Shelo Yochel Little Koidem. Oz Mutter V'Yachze V'Yitzel B'Shachris. So I think he's also alluding to that he doesn't think that the Shalah thought that way. The Shalah, it's Leil Tfilah, it's not Tfilah. What happens if a woman deliberately pushed down her Leil Tfilah? Because for whatever reason, negligence or whatever reason, she pushed off her Leil Tfilah. So from the Knesset Hagdolah mashma, it has to be Shalo Yosi Yechayla Litzel Koide. That means if the night before she could have gone to the mikveh, but no, she couldn't. But from the Shalo, it's not mashma that way. Losh mashma is I don't care. If it's Leil Tfilah, you're chayiv to have oin and gendik. That's it. Okay. The Mishnah Berurah says, Yesh machrenim shekotzu shenochel l'mnei atzma men atamish mitose v'lo shnei leil shel Rosh Hashannah. Look carefully how the Mishnah Berurah says. He doesn't say it's also. Nochen limnoya. Nochen limnoya means a very soft language. Nochen limnoya. Elim kein oise leil tvilo, shos chayev l'kayim einosa v'yachzav yitful d'shachris. Ochen elo anoshim oichel on l'soy v'bitnom. Well, it's very strong language. It wasn't the Mishnah. It wasn't the Chofetz Chaim would never write this way. It's a quote from the Chayot. Those people that fill their bellies up in the Rosh Hashannah meals, it's also a little bit of a pellet to me these days. You see the kosher magazines that they send around, and it's so incongruent. I don't know, just tzadech had some articles that Amos Madin. On the other hand, there's like the pull-out section about the Yom Tov meals. This is not a Halloween meal. This is Amos Madin. This is Rosh Hashannah.
Some people even fast.
No,
Some people even fast.
But it's not a Rosh Hashannah.
Some people fast.
Rosh Hashannah? Yeah, said it's
No, we're talking about that.
Erev Rosh Hashannah. People have it. Erev Rosh Hashannah. Some people have it. But I'm saying like, anyway, it's like the whole pull-out with the whole. It's not Shavuos. It's not Simchas. Chashtei Chassidus and the Melech V'Soda and the Panim office and it's different. It's emes. But still, we're not Mekabel Melech V'Soda with fancy dishes with beautiful fluff. I'm sorry that I even got it. It's Musri and I should whatever. It's like I understand this is a Yom Tov, but I want to tell you I have children that are young right now in the house. So if you make a meal, no problem. For Yom Tov, you cook this, no big deal today to cook a meal. But when you start making, from a magazine and you start following instructions 30 days, it takes away from the Gewalt of Rosh Hashannah.
There's so many cookbooks, parnasa. You have to make it.
Okay, fine. And then you're right.
Give you 100 different.
No. I'm not talking about making good meals for Rosh Hashannah. Every yid should make. It says in the Pasuk, achlu. No, it's chiyuv to make fatty meals. Mashmanim shtumam takim. I'm not talking. I'm talking about starting to put floral arrangements on the table, and this flower is a little sticking out this way, and the other one will drop this way, and then the kids get caught up in the dvarim shel mabekal. I'm not talking about chiyuv. You have to have a delicious meal. Anyway. So if you're going back to the Lashon of the Chayodam, Elo Anoshim Ha'oichlin L'Soiva Bitnan. You see, the Chayodam, when he ate, the night of Rosh Hashannah, he ate a few pieces of tzimmus and a piece of fish.
It's in Vilna.
Huh?
I've been on Elul.
Yeah, but he wanted to say, yeah, I'm just saying, you see from his language. I'm not saying that we should do like the Chayodim Mishnah Brura, that we should eat a little bit of tzimmus and a half a piece of gefilte fish and run back to base when I mental. Whatever, you know what I mean. Oy chas v'sholem shenichnas b'machshavtoi hirur isha Yosef, because if a person eats a lot, so then he's going to have keri. Or even if he didn't eat a lot, if Lapoil machshavas isha went into so sheyishamesh mitosoi and chas v'sholem sheyovel aveda. Because if a person is going to eat a lot, the person could come to keri. Or if a person had a hirur in his mind, he can come to keri. Better that he should sleep with his wife, which is a heter gomur, and that's anyway one of the dagas of lishma is that the person's mind should stay kosher. So fakir, so let him do it. Okay, that's what the Mishnah Berurah says. It says halacha l'maisa. Shari Tshuva brings ayin ba'ad heitev mashkech l'shem k'nezek adel dafkim lo yochel l'itful koydem lachein lesser. K'nezek adel says that only if it's leil tefillin she couldn't toivel in the mikveh the night before. Mashkech Pri Chaim says no, that's not true. Shari Tshuva says. I don't care if she was machir the tefillah, even if it was of negligence, doesn't matter. This is a little tefillah, you're chayav to be with her. Then the moiruk tzia, which is the yavitz, gimgim beisur, what's it called? Tashmas amita mishum mitzvah, and the other said shenachel noya because yetiru leil tefillah makom gira li is tor b'yem kikodesh hayem ladanena Hashem yisborech. I'm sorry, we should milk stock a cost of Shein Koich should on the Lavatal Oina de Reise. The meal tzedakah was a very important posek in Germany 400 years ago. He says that a person doesn't have the right to tell his wife, "Oh, you went to mikveh, but I want to be a bigger Yerushalayim." But if she's taking moichel, he doesn't have to be scared she did it machmas bush. He could say that she's happy with it. Famous Medina la gamken umestam mochel belev shalom. Believe shus loy. And then he's died to culture nogen came from minik prisha mitzvah. Mikora died to the hochi nisa shetim chloy oina bezman shetzrich perusha. Umashkosov razal also sham shmeir oven. Wenn mit der Reise rakas macht, auf kein mein avel ist also mit betash mishmita. Umaisi gamken asmacht be nochem David des Basheva. David the Zor Marid with mitzvah oina der shina mit dem Mosi Asi Amsa. Viel hochi l'shem shmeavla. Im kein kolkai gavda. So there are those that hold that no, he doesn't have to ask for shoes by his wife because probably they get married al smach this minute. Some say no. Anyway, but the bottom line is the Magen Avraham is a poisek achen. If it's a leil tefillah, is mechuyev to be with her, and the Mishnah Berurah brings that even if it's not leil tefillah, that. If he has seichel and he knows what's better, that he shouldn't do cool, he do him that are not shaykh to him. Some Sofer has an interesting thing. He says, "Choshur Rabim v'chem shlemim the pekid l'sor rochel v'chana hana beila v'eroyin on Rosh Hashannah. But say yevsher b'Rosh Hashannah daf Yudalef. It's a very cool thing. He goes through a whole cheshbon. Wow. And the Gemara says that these three tzidkonias were nifkid b'Rosh Hashannah. So l'choyre Avram Avinu slept with Sarah, and Yaakov Avinu with Rachel, and Elkanah with Chana, and Rosh Hashannah. And we saw the obvious from a kind called the Kulach Nitna. So the Chasam Sefer, huh? And the Chana is not after.
It sounds like they had the kids on Rosh Hashannah, not that they.
Right, he goes through a pilpul. Read the thing inside. He says no, they were nifkad. They bring it's a bemis. If you look in the Gemara Rashi there, Rashi says nifkad betfila. It's beferish in Rashi that nifkad doesn't mean that's when there was klita sazera. It means that the Eibishter answered their tefillah in that day, but the Kollel mamish wasn't on the night of Rosh Hashannah.
So
okay.
according to
Davis probably was.
married in the summer, even Elul, the chassid classes would be mentioning this. I don't know if I say.
I don't think. I
don't know how much the singing is being practiced.
Yeah, I don't think. I think it's not being practiced so much. Why? Because I think most Klatshan teachers, for good reason, are thinking that they have to stick with what they have to do with what's very important.
And they know a week later Yom Kippur. It's also
it's like also
on the holiday no less.
Right. Right. That's that. Right. It's not an Isur here. It's not.
It's a
Yom Kippur is an Isur.
yes.
Okay. Okay. So that's that. And this year there's an interesting shaila. It's Rosh Hashannah b'Shabbos. The question is, when you're supposed to do Tashlich? First day or the second day? I think Lepoil today, the minute by almost everyone is ongoing to do Tashlich the second day. The Rebbe spoke about it in a year that was a similar kfiyus to this year, and the Rebbe spoke about it. Very interesting. The Rebbe spoke about it in the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch, mashma that it makes no difference. Yom Tov Shalosh and Shchol is b'Shabbos that you go even on Shabbos. Why? Because so how do you read L'choda? You have to read the. So the Rebbe said he remembers as a child in Yekaterinus Slav that there was that little children the Choyet Fatashlich on the Bar Bas Mitzvah. And the children were taking the Siddur, and the adults were looking into the Siddur.
So they would have the kid's character.
Yeah. Another eight, you can do about pet. Another eight, you don't have to say the words. Go there.
Who knows Baal Peh?
The Baal Tanya do it by
Okay.
Only Baal Peh.
But the thing is that the Rebbe points out that if you look in all the early Mekoides, including the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch, it sounds like you're supposed to go on Tashlich. The minhag to go on Tashlich is also on Yom Tov Shalosh b'Shabbos. And there's a little bit of a logic to it because the first day of Rosh Hashannah is a strong din yakash, and you want to sweeten the din. So the Rebbe spoke about it. It's very, very interesting. I just
They're rabbits.
right, right. You go on you Gimel Midas, MS. So it's true, but still.
We don't need to
Okay.
make a reservation. Come to
Read the last three lines.
Body of water.
So when did the Rebbe come out from his room to go into the place of Tashlich and Rosh Hashannah like this?
You're here. Then the Rebbe said that it has to be on Sunday. You'll see why. Now the Rebbe writes, "Nergem leilach an anar shesh boydagim chayim, u'sim shel tishlev bonu ein hora, v'nifra v'nirbe kedagim v'em mishem posuk yasher v'rachamena v'tashlich, v'tev shem chutz liir, v'yesh leila b'yem rishon shel Rosh Hashannah achem min chakad mishkis acham v'lam posam el kamaycha." So he brings the minhag to go to a nor. I'm not sure the waterfall building has a nor, but they do have dogim chayim, right?
Wait, is it an issue? Yeah, carrying an ox on Shabbos?
Yeah, that's the issue, really. Carrying them outside. Huh? A fake nor.
What did
They have real dogim, right? You guys are going to have real dogim?
Turtles.
Huh?
And turtles.
And turtles. Oh, wow.
Rabbi, what the real Dakim do with the Anara? Says has to be Dakim in the water.
Right.
Shelot Tishlot bo Anara.
Right.
What's Anara to do with that?
You see, there's no, as I'll say, they don't have Ein Hora.
That's right.
Oh,
Right. Right. Okay. It was a truth in the Shus Yaakov. The Shus Yaakov, the Rabbi Yaakov Reishan, who wrote the Sefer Chok Yaakov, was printed in every Shulchan Aruch. Alter Rebbe in Hilchos Pesach brings him a lot. Alter Rebbe obviously thought that he was very, very important posek. And so he writes a tshuva to someone that asked him, Yom Tov Shalosh and Shchol b'Shabbos, what are you supposed to do with Tashlich? So he says, tshuva l'shol davar b'itay, shaltem yesh leilach lanor v'laim Tashlich b'em Shabbos, and aloy da'itech shash, nidnu diso b'zeh. Rather, Rabbi Chosla Apoyson, yesh leilach b'em Rishon, zeh makdim al mitzvahs. Meichi teisei lo yeleich l'sham b'em Shabbos, mach shashishu yes b'zeh. Afila im hanor b'mokim shasu sham lataltal b'yom haShabbos, abekach lo yisul etzlam klum v'le taltal etzlam. Let them walk to the river, and without his matzah, who cares? V'lek l'migzeh dimli taltal shum davar dim kain. Chol haShabbos haShoshana lama lo gezinin and kain. V'lem etzin b'shum poisek chash iser gzeir b'zeh.
You're making it like carry on Sunday.
I know, it's very funny that he's saying this. Right. Ba'adarabba, matzah severisi b'sifrei Maril, reish hilchas Rosh Hashannah shekosa b'zel l'shoyne. Mari Segel nog, it's brought in Apik Kabbalah, Reb Chaim Vital, Kulu, And but the first person that mentions Api Nigla, this minig, to go to Tashlich is the Maril. The Maril brings a lot of the minhagim that we do, Ashkenazim, and the Beis Yosef quotes the Maril a lot, is from the Maril. The Maril was one of the first ones that record a lot of the minhagim. And Maril lived in Worms.
What years?
12th century? Something like that.
No, later. 15th century, 16th, maybe. He's like maybe on the border. Like, it's not clear to count him, Rishon or Achim. Yeah, his cave is still intact in the Beis Hachai, the Jewish Beis Hachai in Worms. So he writes like this. Zelashiner. Mari segel nagu gam kein leila chetzel naharet v'amru shehoil chemetzel naharet b'yomtiv. They used to go on Yom Tov Rosh Hashannah. So they said, those people al yalichum ma'imoem mozen lizrik al adogim. He's beichilul Yom Tov. Shum the muktzehem liyisrael mishum shem chutzorim tzeda. Ve'em metalkel mi Yom Tov elo dobra roilo. You're not allowed to be metalkel only for a reason. Why are you carrying the food to give it to fish? These fish don't belong to you, and they're muktzeh because they're mechusat tzeda. Okay, now he says a mozen tartel gerutz abdi. So moitze chutz leedu, v'meichel sa muktzeh. It's so funny how minig of amaratzis, a bad minig, could persist. I was at Ov in the Bronx, and the people to them Tashlich is so important. I mean, people that you didn't see all year.
They get to read all the avon.
No, and the main thing. Oh yeah,
For them is good.
Mm-hmm. That's a good deal. That's good. That's fine. That's gewaldig. The problem that there was, I always used to announce. It didn't help. I announce every year that the mitzvah of going to the minig to go to Tashlich is very, very special and very, very dear, and to get rid of the sins. However, we should not bring bread to feed the fish. But it was so important. Everyone's coming with bags, and they're feeding, and they're throwing to the fish.
It's not pure chametz. You get rid of the chametz.
Exactly.
Wait, so where was it from? The whole thing?
I don't know, but he says it's also. You should tell the people that it's also. The Maril says, but the words of the Maril is Kol Sheken Shechol Rosh Hashannah b'Shabbos. They have to be careful. So Harei behedim evur b'dvarim. Diyesh leilach lanor b'yom haShabbos. Rak shaloi la'ashlas lamozon. Gam Rosh Hashannah shchol is b'chol. Gam ken also laskim b'yom haShabbos. So Kol Sheken also. So nicht das
Now we don't go out of the town. People have the places for Tashlich and they own the fish.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. I hear. Amikod of Nitvas, Kitzu, Shnei Luchas Habris, Shekotzev Sham, Shein Lelech Lanor. You hear Rabbi Kirschenberg is saying that the fish in your building are first of all they're not mechusat say that they're so small you can just pick them up, and second of all there's a noisem halacha, you're mechuyev to feed those fish. So
I don't know who's responsible to feed.
I know, but someone's responsible.
Yes, but not
especially you. You live in the building, so there's some shaykhs. If management is not taking care of it, there's a certain achrayus on you. So Rabbi Kirschenberg is saying, so that's gefeirla. V'kar of nitvas kitzur shnei luchas abris shekotzev sham shein leilach lanor b'yom haShabbos b'litam v'raya klal b'void isur meliboy. He made up his own isur. B'vad nelam emen dibrim alil v'hadas kodesh v'eiz amaratzim ksheroyin eiz nitva sefer chodesh afshen erolis mechlov toifsin kein la'aloch. The Zamaratzim, they see a new sefer in print. By the way, he's bashing a very important sefer. The Kitzur Shnei Luchas Habris. The truth is, I think he's right. I didn't do enough research on it, but the Shnei Luchas Habris is Rabbi Shai Levi Horowitz, which we all accept him as the Shalach, call him HaKodesh. So he's not the guy you want to bash. The thing is that the people were a lot Shaleach Yod B'Svorim. The Kitzur Shnei Luchas Habris he didn't write. Someone, and it's not even clear, I think, who wrote it and this. So
he did it.
Yeah. If you buy a shalah, you're supposed to buy the real shalah. not the kitzur. There's a lot of tzfonim that later printers made because it was so popular, the shaloh, so they tried to make kitzurim or this or that. Could be this wasn't really from the shaloh. But anyway, in that sefer of kitzur shaloh, he brings that you're not allowed to go on Shabbos. Okay. So back to the Rebbe's biur. The Rebbe has a biur nifla. It's just a beautiful, short and sweet. The Rebbe says like this: it's brought in Poiskim that we don't have the right to make Zaydas. If me and you decide that it would be a very good thing to make a Gzeda, be a very good thing to make a Gzeda. Make a Gzeda, no one's allowed to have a cell phone, only a flip phone. A very good thing to do. So I'm just giving you an example. I didn't mean anything. So
Especially because it's on
right, exactly.
live stream.
So you're not allowed to. We don't have the right to make new Gzedas. Chachamim made Gzedas. Sometimes there is a Gzeda that's so obvious that this other issue is included in this, and we're just being Madama Milza Lamilza. But we don't have the right to make our own Gzedas. That's what the Rebbe says. The Rebbe says a chidush dobe. It's a beautiful chidush. It's not like Psalomdus over here, a Rogatshava, but just like the Rebbe says, what's a pshat? You're not allowed to make our own Zayda. That means Yom Tov Rosh Hashannah b'Shabbos, maybe we don't make our own Zaydas. Well, if we see Lepoel Mamash that there's a takola, we see that there is a danger happening. We see something not good happening.
Which danger are we talking about?
Anything, we see any spiritual danger that's happening in Klal Yisrael. We're seeing it, and it's not maybe a chash. It's happening. It's already happening. So that's not called a gzeda. We're making a gzeda. It's a lahar michshol. The Rebbe said there was a story that the Rebbe Rashab used to always go with a big, and there was a river outside Lubavitch. In fact, I went once to Lubavitch, and the river is the Geblieben. The Blotis are still there, and the river is still there. Everything else is not around anymore. But the river is there, and the Blot is there. Puddles. It's one big puddle. So he used to go out. The house used to go. There was a person, and one of the times a Yid, but he was working for newspapers. He wanted to take a picture of this. It was like very impressive. He stood at the other side of the river, and the Rebbe Rashab saw him from far. He walked away, and it was the last time he ever went to Tashlich. Obviously, the Rebbe says he must have gone to Tashlich. He's not going to battle the minig. Maybe he went to the be'er that was in his own chotzer. Maybe he went quietly. For sure, there was a mila going b'rei b'am adas melech, saying Tehillim together. You're saying it with thousands of people. He was mevatel. Why? Because Yid was standing there with a camera. So the Rebbe says the fact that it's mashma from the Alter Rebbe and all these poskim that were the minig is to go on Tashlich even the first day, obviously at some point it changed. Maybe it's Tzedek and Marat. At some time, maybe 100 years ago, maybe not so long ago, then probably what happened is that Tehillah saw that there's no Eidav, and L'Poel Mamish people, hundreds of people are walking out with Sidurim, and they're making announcements, and the announcements are not helping. In the days of the Maril lived in Worms. Worms is a city, there's a wall around the Jewish neighborhood. There's a ghetto. And the wall is the most kosher Eidav. There is no this way, that way, or other way. It's the best Eidav in the world. So and could be they went to they had some be'er that was there, or whatever it is. There wasn't such a chash. There wasn't takola. There came some time, and there was really a takola. There's really, really, really a takola. So they said, okay, listen. So when it's not the pshat, we're making a gzeda, maybe something. When we're not allowed to make gzedas, maybe in 50 years something will happen. But if right now you see that there's a problem, so maybe the example I gave is nishta zagefela. Some schools have. One of our children just entered so the school makes you buy a special flip phone because that phone they have control. They could have someone that could see everything that's going on in the phone. And so whatever it cost the parents $200. So some parents are complaining, But here, I think the school has the right to make it because it's not a pesach. Maybe in 50 years, a teenage kid will go on the wrong website. This is not a maybe. It's avadai gomur. We saw already in the past, that children are very curious, and so the mela are bringing it back to so So the same thing here. That it must have been that maybe 100, 150 years ago, Kehila saw that people of the Poil are walking with machzorim, and it's on Shabbos. So all the milas of the first day and spiritual, it all melts away, and to say, oh, but I'm not, in my community, there's not going to be a takola. But what do you mean you? But there's your chrei for other yid, another yid, and another yid. All Kol Yisrael Arevim Zebazeh. The Rebbe said that avoided the thing. The Kaf HaChaim said there's an old yeshiva in Yerushalayim called Yeshivat Betkel. It was started already before the Zman of the Rashash, of Shalom Sharabi. It's an old yeshiva, and the Kaf HaChaim is one of the last earliest. Right. And the Kaf HaChaim who lived in Baghdad, they had a connection to Yeshiva's base scale, says that the minig in Yeshiva's base scale is to go dafka, even Yom Tov Shabbos, to do it on Shabbos, because dafka, al pikabol, you should do it the first day. So the Rebbe said, that's what was under the Zach. The Rebbe said that that's a different story. Alavesen, it's cute. The Rebbe said, Alavesen, the Yeshiva's base scale in Yerushalayim are doing all the menhagim, al pikabol, Yusuf, the Rashash, and all the Mekubolim, and no one's learning from them to other. Everyone knows that Yeshiva's base scale in Yerushalayim is already miyomim yamina doides, and they have special menhagim yustafi kabbalah. No one's learning from them. Shenking, me and you, if we should say, oh, based on Menachem Mendel, we'll be very careful. But there is a few ladies over there in the waterfall building, and they're going to look and they'll say, here the rabbis are coming. Exactly, exactly. So therefore, this achnai is the Kollel Yisrael to keep the basics of Shabbos is more important, and therefore the Eibishter will already hear the same tefillah. So whatever has to be done the first day will be done the second day in the same power.
How about something for the Chafetz Chaim? What's that?
We spoke all about the Mishnah Berurah, about his attitude. It's unbelievable the way the Mishnah Berurah, he said that he do him like this and he do him like that. If a person is going to Rosh Hashannah, so that was what we had. One more thing. We're leaving. I want to finish off this summer. We had a beautiful run on Hilchas Bechsanen. It was just geschmacked, the things that we learned, all kinds of products. The last, I want to finish off. Just leave off with a sweet thing under your tongue. I want to finish off with chocolate. I remember as a kid once reading a story that the Einiklach of Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach came to visit their Zaidi, and he offered them chocolate. Versteht sich? A Zaidi, that's a Zaidi's right to offer chocolate to grandchildren, and no one could say that's a minig Yisrael. No one could say against it. Anyway, so the kid said, Zaidi, what's the bracha? So what's the bracha? And his wife ran him from the kitchen, and she said, what do you mean? It's shahakol. He said, okay, I'm sorry. In fact, it's shahakol. If the Babad gesagt it's shahakol, it's shahakol. I just left an impression. I don't know, but I know he be'emes he held that it's that the chocolate is eight. Be'emes, he be'emes held that way. But just it's a nice. Anyway, so I just want to finish off. Talk about chocolate. Here's chocolate beans. I mentioned in the shear. I actually brought here pods of chocolate, and I was able to get through the customs. That didn't chap me, but it was in the 3 weeks. And then it's a shaila. If I would bring it here, it's a shaila b'ameng shechionu. So I put in the fridge, and I put outside the fridge, and the fridge got shriveled. And the other one. So the only thing I was able to bring today was the cocoa. So the fresh, they're delicious. But then they dry them up and they ferment them, and there's a whole process of what they do until they make chocolate. So even though this doesn't have such a moedic taste. But Arizal made a bracha, anything grows in the tree, Bari Pri Eitz, anything from the ground, Bari Pri Adama. So if you want, you can pass it around if anyone would like to taste a piece of cocoa bean. You have to put in a lot of sugar. Tell me if you taste the chocolate in this.
Okay, send me a list.
This is mamish. This is the bean. Kamoshahu was just dried under the sun. no additives, no nothing. This is a real chocolate bean. The chocolate bean's bats was much bigger, and it has a white gooey thing around it. But like I said, that I couldn't preserve long enough. This is a chocolate. So I just no, they don't throw it out. They leave the gooey thing on it, and it goes into the patty, and it makes it like a shtickle ferment. That's why it has a little bit of sourness. So yeah, it's not chelik and suda. It's not. So today, by the way, there's chocolates that they sell with nibs. Stop! I'm just telling you, I'm Mishagas. You'll see it. Nibs. What's nibs? Maza nibs. This is nibs. It's people like sometimes have a crunch in the chocolate. They take the bean, chocolate bean, and they grind it up. Not dak kemach. They grind it up, and they put it into the chocolate, so it gives a crunchiness to the chocolate. So, Shaila is a chocolate should be by the plate. Why? Because it grows on a tree, and then even though it gets mashed up, but one shitta says I don't care if it gets mashed, the bracha stays. The other shitta says it depends what's the derech, why they plant this tree. Tell me, why do they plant cocoa trees? To make chocolate. So still, it gets processed, it gets mashed. The emes amoligatzite, the original was to make a mashk out of it. The original in the Indians in America, when they used to take the beans, they didn't know how to crush it and do it. They used to use it like coffee, just like we do coffee today. They used to cook it, and they used to drink chocolate milk. Is added to milk, but they didn't have chocolate milk. They had chocolate drink without the milk. But today, the whole reason why the chocolate tree is planted is to make the chocolate. So the days, the bracha should be so why is the minhag olam to make a shahak? So there's a few reasons.
Even though on a liquid we're talking.
So there's a few reasons that
doesn't the transformation make the difference?
Okay, so some say because most of the roiv is sugar. It's a very shvacha taina, the fact that roiv is sugar, because what's the difference with the roiv? What's the ikid? The ikid of why a person wants chocolate is because the chocolate. And by the way, that they're not allowed to write chocolate unless it has at least 12%. If it's under 12% cocoa, they have to write chocolate flavor. So if the package says chocolates, it's at least 12% or 11% cocoa bean. So that's the ikka. The other thing that they say that to justify minhag olam is kilo ponim chadoshes bolakan. It's like you see a piece of chocolate. It's similar to what the Alter Rebbe said that if you take beans and you grind it, and then you mix it with water, you reconstitute it. It's yotza metoides pri legamri. It's like totally went out from being, from this to a bar chocolate. So far.
According to that, you make also done on top of coffee, not shahako.
I don't want to deal with coffee now. We spoke about it already.
To say it would be a parallel idea.
No. But I'll tell you one nakuda maybe I was thinking about, because I took the kids to Hershey Chocolate Factory. Why? Because we were driving and it was on the way, and we broke up a 9-hour drive, and also it's free. It's not so free when the kids go out the store and they see.
It's all you there.
No, but the chocolate licorice is OU and it's Padav.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
A long time ago. My kids were.
Oh, you told them everything is Kollel and let's get out of here.
No, I think it was followed at that time.
No, the licorice is fine. The licorice is fine. So if you think the licorice is shahakal, so then there's no problem with bishulakal. If you think licorice is mazonis, then you have a problem with bishul or pasakal. But anyway, back to the chocolate factory. So it seems that a big process of of making chocolate is they take out the cocoa butter. It seems that all the products are that way. For some reason they take out the cocoa butter, and then they put it back in. Whatever it does. I was on the farm for a few hours with different things, coffee, cocoa, chulu, chulu, chulu. So so the part of the thing was to make your own chocolate. So I took beans, I grinded the beans. I can find the pictures. I grinded the beans and and the grinder, and then I put in this is a tour. And I put in chocolate. I put in the sugar. They had other items on the table that I can't put in, but sugar is sugar. And then I made a chocolate bar. I made an eighth in that chocolate. What's the shaila? Obviously, it's an eighth. The thing is that the chocolate you buy in the store, they take out, they make the cocoa butter. I was thinking maybe this is the pshat. Cocoa butter is shemen. Shemen is about just like the Moshe Feinstein yesterday. I was saying that Moshe Feinstein said, "Oh, tachina, what is sesame? The only thing where they grow sesames is in order to make oil out of the sesames. And oil is be'alma, so mamela. Okay, so as I mentioned yesterday, the Moshe wasn't really into eating halava. He didn't go to the local pizza shop and have a falafel and tchina. Okay, whatever. But okay, but he did.
Person.
Yeah, I know.
He had a cup of coffee there.
Yeah, he didn't.
He went there for a cup of coffee.
But here they really take out the shemen of it, and they take out the cocoa butter, which is a big ingredient in the final product. So it could be that maybe that's the pshat, that when they take out the cocoa butter, so yored bechosek. Right now, cocoa butter shemen is alma. Now they put it back in. So yored bechosek. At this moment, when they take out the butter, they take out the shemen. Everything has shemen. Everything in this world has shemen. It's just that they don't make shemen out of everything, but the rocks have shemen, but everything has shemen in it. Today there's plants. Canola oil is popular. Vegetable oils are popular. This and that, whatever. You can make squeeze oil out of everything. So they take oil out of this, the cocoa butter. At that point, the bracha falls down to shahakal. Now they put it back in. Once it fell down, it fell down. That could be a limit schus for the minig oil to make shahakal on chocolate. But interesting now that they have nibs in the chocolate. So it's a little bit is decided in my mind. You could say the nibs are so small, but the nibs itself are little pieces like this. They should be buried at Priya 8. You could say they're tough to the chocolate. You're already making shahakal on the chocolate. So one thing's clear. Even though the minig oilam is to make shahakal on chocolate, if a person made a 8 chocolate, he was yotzef. Okay, this alone design chocolate is a very sweet thing. Thank you Hashem for the chocolate that we have, which helps us in so many ways. I just remember that the Rebbe had a doctor as a kid. He was our family doctor, Dr. Zellickson, Zechroine Lebrocha. And Dr. Zellickson, all his clients knew that he was very fond of chocolate for every ailment. Yeah, Dr. Zellickson was I even remember in Khan's grocery store, Dr. Zellickson was very hunched. I remember him buying, it's the same. It's the first product of Shmurlik chocolate, with the horsey on it. I remember him buying for himself even. That was Dr. Zellickson's big prescriptions. So if you have any ailments, you have it from Dr. Zellickson's a very choshev doctor. A piece of chocolate and also sein good. I paid a Tanya a piece of chocolate. That's all Lev Shalhofen.
That's a good referral.
That we should have. Our year should be dripping with zavas cholav advash and chocolate. Should have a sweet year full of chocolate.
No, so in this chocolate, the chocolate covers from the nuts, right?
So that's l'chayre should be our 8 because the chocolate itself is a big svara to say 8. I wouldn't make any other bracha on the Viennese. I would say Boide Priya 8 and that's it.
Yes, probably so fast.
Right. Right.
What's the bracha? What's the bracha?
Just do the apple and...
One second. Huh? We just do the
What's the bracha?
Right. We do the other thing. We do it, but we don't say the yirotzi.
Okay, so you do pomegranate?
Mhm.
Don't you hear what's on? Dagim or the road?
Everything.
Dagim.
Everything.
What is the? By the way, next Sunday, no share, okay?
No, there will be share. There'll be lots of share every day with lots of
No breakfast, no breakfast.
chocolates.
No breakfast
and
next
honey.
week.
After
No breakfast.
No, there will be private breakfast.
After Bolshoi.
bracha Kollel.
This is beach, right?
And the meats, that's
Go so far at the
with,
table, scrambled eggs and
leek.
potatoes.
leek.
That's leek.
And this is
There should be a big leak on all our enemies.
what is this? What is
This is beets.
What is this?
I once ate it with Bikawana.
This is beach. What is this? This is beach. What is this?
This is
Sure,
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. What is this?
No.
Over the beets. Rabbi Kirschenberg, what were you saying?
So bepoil, what's the bracha for chocolate?
Huh?
What's the bracha for chocolate bepoil?
Yosef minig Yisrael is to make shakal. To make shakal, that's oil the minig oilam. I would
And when
say,
they have nibs,
like as soon as you have like nibs in it, or you have nuts in it, and you're making an eights anyway, you can't make another shakal. If you make already eights, because something is mixed with it. Almond, chocolate covered almond.
Last Sunday morning,
Yeah,
benching
so
of
then
the
it's
year.
You're already making an eights,
That's right.
and there's a strong
Mhm.
svara that should really be an eights.
okay.
And maybe even the chocolate is bottled to those nuts. Maybe not, but still.
How many people wash?
I would say that the taka to make the bracha shahakul, because that's a minig oilam. It's a strong minig.
We have three.
So what you're saying is that we should make our eights on almonds or something else outside, and then she'akoil on the chocolate and then knead it.
No. So listen, that's minig Yisrael to make shahakul. Hanachlam li Yisrael. I'm just saying that if a person already made her eights, and the chocolate is on the table, you can't just make now shahakal and chocolate. You can make a shahakal on a glass of water and then eat the chocolate. If a person, like someone mentioned, the Viennese crunch, a person's eating it, you made her eights, how can you make now shahakal? But there's a very strong svara to say that the eights that you made, if you knew you're going to eat chocolate, there's already went in chocolate.
The volunteer.
So the main thing
I
is the
wouldn't go so
chocolate.
far to say that every time you eat a chocolate, you have to make two brachas. Because that's minig oilam. So, and it's a strong minig that, chocolate's been around for a long time.
And it covers all the shilas.
She's talking
Huh?
now.
Is
The she'akoil covers all the shilas.
What?
The
Right,
she'akoil covers all the shilas anyhow.
right. Could be that's also. People Machatchila didn't know what to do with the chocolate. No. Stop.
All right, benching.
Ishay, Adoinoi. Yeah, Zeker is wel eens net dat stof.
Let's see what's over.
Sievelig, betuigbaar. Goede jaren, beste jaren, gelukkige jaren. 11 year. Sievelig, whoever's online. Azise gebenchte jaar.